Have you ever noticed someone suddenly treating you differently, cold, distant, maybe even hostile without an explanation? Almost like they've been fed a version of you that doesn't even exist? That's no accident. It's actually triangulation, one of the most insidious tactics covert narcissists use to turn people against you. I've spent the last 20 years researching self-worth and narcissistic relationships. As a coach, author, and survivor myself, I teach practical systems to help empower you. In this video, I'll break down the 3 manipulative triangulation tactics that covert narcissists use, how they pull people into their web, and most importantly, the one response that shuts it all down. A covert narcissist won't attack you outright. That would expose them. Instead, they manipulate the people around you, turning friends, family, and even professionals into unwitting weapons against you. This is called authority triangulation, a tactic where the narcissist leverages credibility and social influence to rewrite reality so that they look blameless while you appear to be the problem. But this isn't just about turning people against you. It's about stealing the trust and support that should have been yours and then rerouting it to themselves. They manipulate key figures, a friend, a doctor, a teacher, so that when those people reinforce the narcissist version of events, everyone else follows their lead. The result is a carefully orchestrated distortion of reality, leaving you isolated and unable to pinpoint a direct defense. To pull this off, they don't target just anyone. They carefully test people first, looking for the empathetic, the peacemakers, the ones eager to help. If they can, they start with family or mutual friends, knowing emotional pressure will keep them in line. If they need more leverage, they're going to turn to authority figures, people whose opinions carry weight. By the time you realize what's happening, the system is already working against you. This is emotional theft. They take the trust, care, and support that should have been yours and pull it towards themselves. And they do this without ever having to say, she's a bad mother or he's the unstable one. Instead, they plant seemingly innocent concerns. Like, I just worry about her, or I just miss my son so much. So now it's the teacher or the doctor or the friend or the family member who takes action. Because the real goal of authority triangulation isn't just to turn people against you, it's to steal the power, the trust, and the support that once belonged to you and claim it for themselves. Covert narcissists don't just turn people against you, they make it a moral decision. Moral triangulation happens when the narcissist casts themselves as the suffering party, framing support with them as the only ethical choice and aligning with you as heartless. This makes others feel that they must prove their compassion by rejecting you. Once someone believes that they have a moral duty to stand with the narcissist, their loyalty is locked in, because questioning it would mean questioning their own character. The people most vulnerable to this trap are the ones who value being kind and fair and supportive. And narcissists target those who see themselves as good friends, good family members, or good colleagues, the ones who can take pride in being there for others. For them, this isn't just about taking sides, it's about protecting their own self-image. If the narcissist seems vulnerable enough, they won't just offer support, they're going to convince themselves that siding with you would make them a bad person. The narcissist won't come straight out and say, she's so cruel to me. Instead, they'll sigh and say something like, I don't know what I did wrong, I just wish she could forgive me. And so now anyone listening isn't just deciding who to believe, they're deciding what kind of person they are. Are they compassionate enough to comfort someone in pain, or cold enough to side with the person who refuses to forgive? The choice feels obvious, so they pick the narcissist, not because they fully believe them, but because it feels wrong not to. And once that choice is made, you become the villain by default. Fighting back only confirms what the narcissist wanted them to believe, that you are the problem. And that's the real trap of the moral triangulation. It's not just about making people take sides. It's about making sure that once they do, they never reconsider. Because changing their mind wouldn't just mean that they realized that they were wrong about you. It would mean admitting that they turned against an innocent person. And that's a truth that most people cannot bring themselves to face. Some forms of triangulation push you out. This one pulls you in. Proxy triangulation happens when the narcissist inserts a third party between you and them, forcing all interactions to go through that person instead of happening directly. This allows the narcissist to control relationships without seeming involved. Instead of maintaining their own connections, they create a social system where others do it for them. One person becomes the messenger, another one plans events, and someone else applies pressure or persuasion. The narcissist stays in the background, but they dictate who interacts with whom and on what terms. Their role in the narcissist system becomes part of their identity. They see themselves as helpful, responsible, even indispensable, but they're not maintaining relationships. They're actually just managing access. This might look like a narcissistic father who has alienated most of his family but relies on his daughter to coordinate his social life. She arranges visits or smooths over conflicts and ensures that he still has access to the people who would otherwise avoid him. Or a narcissistic mother who's difficult and unpleasant, but her son insists on hosting every holiday at her house. No one wants to go, but his efforts make it socially unacceptable to decline. Or a divorced father who refuses to communicate directly, so his mother calls his ex to arrange time with the child. Every interaction now revolves around pleasing grandma instead of addressing his failure to co-parent. At first, this may seem practical, keeping the peace, helping the family function, making things easier. But over time, it erodes natural relationships. And if you refuse to participate, now you're the problem. The narcissist doesn't take the hit, the person acting on their behalf does. Pulling away from your father upsets your sister, or skipping the holiday disappoints your brother, or setting a boundary makes you seem unfair because you're saying no to someone who appears to only be trying to help. Instead of holding the narcissist accountable, everyone focuses on your reaction, making you seem like the difficult one. And that's what makes proxy triangulation so effective. There's no direct attack, no clear betrayal. It's just a system of obligation that traps you. The direct defense tool is the only response you need to shut down any kind of triangulation, no matter how the narcissist is playing it. Whether they're turning an authority figure against you, making you look like the villain, or forcing a third party between you, the game only works if you engage. So you don't. You give them nothing. Just one calm, neutral line. You'll have to talk to them about that. That's it. No elaboration, no defense, no explanation. If someone says they're really upset about this, you don't take the bait. You'll have to talk to them about that. If they try, I just want to understand what happened, you don't fill in the blanks. You'll have to talk to them about that. And this works no matter what type of triangulation they're using. If it's an authority triangulation, this forces the authority figure to go straight to the narcissist instead of using you as a target. If it's moral triangulation, it removes you from the guilt trap. You're not justifying yourself. You're not explaining. You're letting them form their own opinions without dragging you into it. If it's proxy triangulation, it stops the narcissist from controlling communication through intermediaries. They can't stay in the background while someone else does their dirty work. If they want something, they're going to have to come forward and own it. And here's the truth. This isn't going to make you look good to the people who have already turned against you. They may still see you as cold or uncooperative or even guilty. But that's always going to happen because the narcissist has already made sure of it. So this isn't about changing their perception. It's about protecting yourself. Most people will believe the narcissist because it's easier, because they don't like conflict, because they don't want to admit they've been manipulated. And you can't control that. But you can control yourself. And by refusing to explain, justify, or beg to be understood, you take back your power. Hey, thanks so much for watching. YouTube thinks you're going to love this video right here on screen, so click it. It's packed with tons of information about narcissism, manipulation, boundaries. Don't miss it. It's the next step forward to creating the life you deserve. I'll see you over there. Okay,